else have we been getting?
Revelations, Judgment.
Wow, which is a perfect topic for starting this on a Sunday, and we're live.
Oh, welcome to the Reel Pundits podcast. What we were just talking about was the Almost movie from 2014, where Clive Barker pitched a reboot of his Hellraiser series and how much better it would have been. But that's not the topic of today. That's a future topic.
So why don't we just start this off properly? You're back.
Yep, I'm back. I'm not sick anymore. I was dying. I'm not dying now.
That's a good thing. That makes things a little bit of a challenge to do this show.
So welcome to the Reel Pundits podcast. I'm Brandon.
And this is Alex.
And today we're going to be talking about House on Haunted Hill from 1959. No, not 1999.
1959. But before we get to that,
yeah, so we have
winter is coming.
Winter is in fact coming. Well, winter's already here.
Well, technically yes, but we're talking not.
Yeah,
not
winter's here in Game of Thrones too. They broke through the wall last season.
It is.
Winter's here.
So go ahead and make the announcement, man. Since you haven't been back, I'll give you a little bit of a chance.
So
to
this
talk.
Sunday, HBO finally revealed when it will finally reveal the Game of Thrones final season premiere.
So it's a reveal for a reveal.
Yeah, we got a reveal for a reveal. Sometime tonight, before 9 p.m. or around 9 p.m., HBO will release their release date for Game of Thrones Season 8, the 6 episodes that have been described as 6 movies.
Now, are we talking about, is this going to be just a release of, hey, we're doing this on this date? Or are we going to actually get a more than teaser trailer? What is your speculation?
I'm hoping for another teaser trailer. I don't want them to show too much. The last teaser trailer we got showed Sansa telling Daenerys, Winterfell is yours, your grace. Which,
I think
God knows if she's playing the Game of Thrones still. Or if she's just, or if John talked to her first, like, listen, I'm boning her. Don't ruin this for me.
That could be it. But the thing that I'm waiting for is to see, are we going to do what we did in the beginning of Game of Thrones? When the series first came out, the only thing that you got was some crows flying, a tree, and it said winter is coming and a date. I'm really tired of the current industry of, hey, let me give you a trailer. Here's everything that happens.
Yeah. See, I'm hoping it's just that. I'm hoping you get a thing. I'm hoping you get the same what you've been getting the last couple of weeks, where it's just a little bit, tiny bit of maybe some Dothraki standing around Winterfell, maybe a dragon flying over Winterfell, and then
or just you're hearing somebody's footsteps in the snow, and as you slowly catch up to it,
it's the Night King's army marching.
Yes,
that'd be good too.
That would be,
and it says winter is here, and then a release date,
and you see Winterfell.
Yeah.
So that you know that they've made some distance and they're not like,
So the one thing that I did read is that the apparently the first episode of season 8 is going to be very similar to the first episode of season 1, where it's all about the king's procession, or in this case, queen's procession into Winterfell.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it's
so basically, so what we're going to start off with is our speculations for
season 8.
Okay. That's what we're doing.
We're going to be doing reviews of each season in the next coming weeks, leading up to, of course, Game of Thrones Season 8 premiere, in which we're going to be spending every week talking about every episode.
Not every season, at least.
No. Once Game of Thrones is there,
once we get to that point.
We'll be doing every episode of Game of Thrones as it comes out to discuss our thoughts of what just happened.
So for the next couple of weeks, it's just going to be nothing but
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Which has made me so happy. I've been waiting on this.
So it's time to go ahead and dust off your collection of the Game of Thrones DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever the case may be.
Watch.
And watch, because that's what we're doing, and we're going to literally just burn through a season.
And then review it.
Burn through a season, review it. Hopefully, if we time this right, we'll knock it straight into what the release date of the release date is.
I'll flip this question on you. What do you think is going to happen in season 8?
What I want to happen, or what I actually...
how you think it's going to go. Because remember, what you want to happen is not going to happen, because George R. R. Martin is no longer... Yeah. Well, he's no longer writing this, so it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
No, I think he pinned it. I think I'm willing to bet, as thorough of a writer as he is, he may have not written the novel of this section.
He knew how it was going to end, and he told them this is how it better end.
That he rolled in there and was like, here.
This is how this better end.
This is how this ends, period. There's no wiggle room. And because of that, it's hard to speculate versus a guy who thinks about, well, if you do this, this happens, and if this happens, this happens. What I'm expecting, the one thing that everyone's probably going to hate me on, Jon Snow will find his final death. And
so will Dany.
I don't think Danny will.
I think so. I have a theory as to who's going to end up on the throne, but we'll get to that one with my prediction.
Okay. Now I almost want to jump past mine. Nope. What is your prediction?
No, go for it.
You think it's going to be Tyrion, don't you?
No.
Oh.
No. And we'll get to that.
You don't think it's going to be Tyrion? Mm-mm. That's what you want my prediction. That's what I want to see on the throne at the very end.
I would love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it will ever happen. That's what I said. My idea of like what I want and what will happen are two drastically different things. I think Tyrion would be a logical ending of after all the bloodshed, after everything is over with, everybody's killed each other, the only person left standing, a very lonely and sad Tyrion who's going to rule over next to nothing. That's how if you're going to go with the ending and you want this tragic ending, you have Tyrion technically wins, but he's a king of nothing.
That's a possibility.
Which would work well within the entire...
It wouldn't be the bittersweet ending, though. That would just be a bitter ending.
For everything else that we've gotten and the way the books go, I would expect
George R. R. Martin said bittersweet.
Oh, it's bittersweet. Okay, I was expecting just bitter.
So you're going to get something you enjoy, but it's going to be heart-wrenching to get there.
Okay, then my next one... That was my biggest thing. That's all I... Last season, show me Lady Stoneheart. Now, do I need to explain that for anybody who hasn't read the books?
Okay, so for those of you that haven't read the books, Lady Stoneheart, it's a key figure, but you're not going to get her.
This would be a perfect way to bring her in.
She's supposed to be leading the Brotherhood without banners, but they've already proven that that's Beric Dondarrion.
Right, but at the very... this would be a huge twist.
You would have to introduce... So they're already introducing a bunch of new characters.
Oh, then you don't have time to...
Yeah, you don't have... they're introducing people from the Golden Company now.
Okay.
Like John Cunnington.
Yeah.
That's a character that's been casted.
Wow.
So they're going to go with disgraced Westerosi knights in the Golden Company, which is going to be a weird twist.
That's going to be different. So I guess you're going to have some things that you weren't expecting.
Here's my prediction.
Yeah, I want to hear your prediction.
Dany's going to die in childbirth. Jon Snow knocked her up. They made way too much stink about her not being able to have kids last season.
I would see that.
And then the whole Jorah saying, pass us on to your children. Mm. So whether it's male or female, a Targaryen will sit on the throne.
You think there's going to be a time jump in the middle of this?
No, I think there's I think a small time jump at the end of it.
A young child that's on the throne.
On the throne with Tyrion as the hand of the king as regent until the child comes of age. That's how I think the ending is going to be. With Jon Snow and Daenerys both dead. Gendry legitimized and Lord of Storm's End. Possibly married to Sansa. Arya gone. Not dead. Gone.
Who's Arya?
Exactly. She's no one. But that's she's going to do this. Her family's going to die, except for Sansa, and she's going to go, I'm done. But
I don't think she's going to be done. I think she's going to be the assassin that's going to be constantly floating around. You'll never know where she's at.
The biggest twist I think is going to happen is Bran being the Night King.
That was already talked about, and that you want to get into the time travel or
so what I think is going to happen.
Want to talk about that?
What I think is going to happen is because he's already gone back in time and seen the past, and so
but they've never officially said that he is that person and that we're playing this game of time. That there's a theory online that what we're seeing is there's a time jump that's going back and forth within Game of Thrones. We're seeing some things from a past and some things from a current present time. And so...
See, I don't think that's happening. What I think is going to happen...
A lot of people are talking about the whole time jump thing because it would make sense finally. This is why Bran is seeing the things that he's seeing, and what he's seeing is his future of what he's doing. And the invasion from the wall breaking down isn't current. That was a version of... them attempting to get past the wall.
I think that would be way too convoluted, and you're giving way too much credit to HBO. And they're right. I'm
not giving it to HBO. I'm giving it to Martin. Because see, when you add all this together, I always add George R. R. Martin. He can go that distance.
Because he writes 6 novels in a novel.
Right. No. So for him to sit there and go, oh, by the way, this is.
I think what is gonna. So you know that original guy, that was we already know that Bran can warg into a person. He did it to Hodor.
Yes.
Right. And he's been to the past and seen when the children of the forest created the Night King.
And that's where I say
I think he's going to warg into that guy to see if he can stop it. And that is when he's going to die.
He's going to get lost inside.
He's going to get lost inside of it because they've already said don't go too far. They covered that in the books, though, not,
See, that's where I want to get into where we're going to go different between books versus How much of the books are we going to start adding into the
Or-
last season?
Because there's got to be a reason why wherever Bran goes, the Night King can go.
And who says that he's not going to warg into Bran?
Well, who says he already hasn't? Who says they're not the same person anyways? And that's what's...
And that's where I said the whole time, there's going to have to be something explaining that
This
connection.
is just a loop.
Right.
That's always going to happen. Bran, they win, but Bran ends up the Night King always.
Right. At the end of it, he's always going to be a version of the Night King.
Yeah.
And my problem is going to be, how is his family going to react to it? I think dropping that huge bomb in the very beginning...
I think he's going to die.
I think that
His
Jon
body is
Snow-
going to die.
I think Jon Snow is going to figure out that's Bran.
No, I think Jon Snow is going to die, but I don't think Jon Snow is going to die at the hands of the Night King. I think he's going to win. I think Jon Snow is going to die at the hands of Euron, or
Really?
or
Mhm.
the Lord of Light will be done with him.
I can see that happening, and he does this whole last push to finish off.
Well, once he finishes the Night King off, he has no
So,
purpose.
Yeah.
The Lord of Light will be done with him. So either but see, I don't see him just dropping dead like that. Like, oh, I'm done. You know,
That would be awesome.
it'd be
It
cool.
would be. Wait a minute. You have to add in the George R. R. Martin
Or
ability.
Melisandre will sacrifice him.
Or he was a puppet of Melisandre the entire time, and as soon as he kills the Night King, she goes, "Okay, your time is done. Go say goodbye to your wife, because in about 5 minutes, you're going to stop."
Well, that's what I
existing."
mean. Well, she's going to die in this land. I think maybe when she dies, he dies.
You think?
But
It's,
if that were the case, then Beric would have died the second Thoros of Myr died.
right.
So
There has to be something. There's a catch that we don't know about.
yeah,
as
there's
far as
something.
that.
That's the good thing about this series is I haven't figured everything out. I
Now-
know that.
Do you think that?
I think the worst possible ending is something they set up in season 1. Gendry told Arya that one day she'd be his lady. I think that would be the worst case scenario for Arya to end up as Gendry's lady because that's the one thing she hasn't wanted.
I think that would actually work out because
It'd be sweet.
no, because she would have the face. It would be Arya of like, oh yes, I'm a lady. And as soon as literally it turns to night,
Yeah,
Gendry looks at her and goes, "You gone? I'll be back in the morning."
like she's doing. Like
And
she lives this double life. Now that could be a thing.
Because I think that's what she's going to go for. Because when she was talking to Sansa, she was alluding to the fact of, yeah, I do some bad things, but I don't want to involve you in this. But I still got your back. So when things look like they're going one way, I will show up and help you.
Bran, I think, is going to die.
I don't think Bran is ever going to die. I think he's going to become a part of a tree or something.
Jaime
That's
is
gonna
going
be
to
sad.
end up Night's Watch.
You think he's going to run the Night's Watch?
I think he's going to end up as the 1000th commander of the Night's Watch. Him or Jorah.
No, I'd see Jaime doing that.
I think that it would be full circle redemption for Jaime. Either that or he's going to sacrifice himself to save Bran. Because he is the reason Bran's in the predicament he's in now anyway.
I don't want to see him sacrifice. I don't see sacrifice when it comes to
It'd be a
Jaime
full
Lannister.
circle selfless
Night's,
act.
Night's Watch, 100% for Jaime Lannister,
It would
and
be-
him ruling the Night's Watch with an iron fist.
Do you
Boom,
think
boom.
we're ever going to see Clegane Bowl? Do you think we're going to see that this season?
I think we're going to, and I don't think it's going to last as long as we think it is.
I think it's going to be quick, but I think it's. Not
I think
go
it's
the
going
way
to
we
be a
want
very quick, or it's going to be set up for Clegane Bowl, and Arya's going to show up and go, like, "Stop that mess! I need you," and just
I think that,
murders the mountain.
I think that Clegane Bowl is going to happen with Arya there. I think the Hound and her are going to go to King's Landing. As soon as she figures out that Cersei betrayed them because Jaime shows up by herself, her and the Hound are going to go.
You think that would really work?
I think that she and the Hound could easily sneak off. They've done it before.
Is
They
that the
would be
sneaking
a
off
full
part that I
circle
noticed?
riding companionship again, just going the other direction. And
But do you really want
Sandor-
both of those guys pissed off, Arya and
Hound,
the Hound?
you don't think they would be?
Oh, they would be, but it's the fact of that's not the people I really want sneaking into my place, because the Hound's just going to sit there and like, okay, I'm going to walk in the front door, and Arya, you're not there.
Plus,
And people are just going to start dying.
here's the other thing here's the other prediction I have. Jorah was a Golden Company member, so he's got some pull with them. In the books, John Covington is trying to put who on the throne? Aegon Targaryen.
Oh, we're starting that whole situation up.
So what I believe is the Golden Company will break their word
Really?
for lands and titles back. Yeah, of course, back
want-
to Aegon Targaryen,
Uh,
not Daenerys. Aegon.
Aegon.
I think there might be some tension there too. As soon as she figures out that she no longer has a direct claim to the throne, I think there's going to be some tension. What I would love to see, though, is both of them to lose everything they care about. Like her dragons die. Jon Snow loses Bran. Both of them live and neither one of them sit the Iron Throne. It would fit both of their characters.
Then who would sit?
Anybody else. Maybe Sansa and Gendry. But basically they go to the north of Dragonstone and just live out their lives because they lost too much.
If we're going to go through the huge speculation, after this, there is no Iron Throne.
Yeah, it goes back to 7 kingdoms ruling themselves. But I do want to see one thing. There is one specific thing I need to see.
Okay.
I need to see Bronn's offer doubled. So what does Jaime Lannister owe Bronn? A castle.
Right.
Yeah, he needs 2. The twins. I think when all this is over, Tyrion is going to gift him the twins. There's no family there now.
Yeah.
So Bronn gets 2 castles. Tyrion doubles it. But Bronn needs to be compensated, man. Either way, he's going to die.
So that's the reason I'm like, with so many people that are a high possibility of dying, there's no way.
Bronn is the one person I need to see live.
That's not the one person I need to see live.
Who do you need to see live? Tyrion?
Tyrion, Arya, in one form or another. And that's as far as my list goes. I'm expecting Sansa to bite it big.
I don't expect Sansa to bite it. I expect Robb and Aaron to bite it. I expect Winterfell to fall. I expect them to fall back to the Eyrie. And I expect the Eyrie to be the thing that defends against, because it's impenetrable. Except unless you have 10 good men and climbing spikes. It's pregnant. It's
yeah, but I'm trying to think of, would that be...
And I think Robb and Aaron is going to selfishly freak out because of the character he is, and somebody's going to have to put him down.
Oh, that's easy. I can agree with that part. I just don't... I can even see them defending the Eyrie, but I just don't see...
I think that if the battle ends in the north and doesn't go south, then we wasted the Night King.
It has to go south.
If it does not go south, we've wasted the Night King.
I want it to go south.
Undead Dothraki.
Yeah. I'm expecting horses. I'm expecting...
Dothraki, Unsullied, undead fighting Dothraki, Unsullied, regular... I expect there to be a crazy... battle, and the Golden Company is the thing to save.
I could see that working. I'm hoping for something just a little bit,
because they've been over there, man. Valyrian's still over there.
Yeah,
so they could all be outfitted with
But if you have that big of a focus, then what are we doing with the Greyjoys? That's the thing that.
So the Greyjoys,
you have to answer that question, because you still have a couple of pieces that are just.
So I expect Euron. Once the Golden Company gets there, to go back to the Iron Islands, where Theon's waiting for him.
Okay.
Theon's already waiting. Because where did Theon go? If he did not just go to the... It's not like he went to Essos.
No. Okay, so that's your theory on that. Martells. Where are the Martells going to be doing this?
They're dead.
No, they're not.
Who's left?
There has to be another Martell somewhere.
There's another Martell. They have not introducced any other character for the Martell family.
They haven't introduced.
There's 3 other Martells that they've not introduced, and the 2 others. And neither one of... I don't think either one of them are going to make an appearance, because they're already at the end of it.
Oh, now, this isn't going on.
This isn't going on for another season. There are no more Martells.
Do you think that was the ending of the Martells?
There is one family in Dorne that you've kind of introduced, but you haven't introduced, that I want to see make an appearance, but it probably won't happen.
Who?
The Sword of the Morning.
Oh gosh.
I want to see the Danes.
No, it's not going to happen.
Well, no, because Starfall hasn't been talked about.
That's totally. That's what I was like. Who are they going to possibly bring up that you want? That's not going to even happen. Again, it's kind of like some of the things I want. No Lady Ironheart, because you don't have the time to set that up. But if you have it at the very ending of it,
do you know who I really think is going to help against the Army of the Dead? Nymeria.
Could possibly, but
I think because they got to go to the Riverlands if they're going south. And where is Nymeria if not the Riverlands?
But I still think you can do Lady Stoneheart somehow in there, because at the very we're talking about
unless she's riding Nymeria around,
something to the effect of that, or you have it at the 5th of 6 movies. And all of a sudden, they're like, we're getting overwhelmed. There is no way that this place is going to stand. And all of a sudden, this decrepit, old, scarred-up woman just shows up. And all the night workers just stop.
Well, you're talking... honestly, that would upset me. If
it's Martin. He
Deus
always
Ex
throws...
Machina old lady that ends up being Catelyn Stark.
It happened in the books. Well, what?
Mm.
And
And Cold Hands was Benjamin Stark, and
they started kind of bringing that up, but they just never went
Brought it
any. They never went anywhere.
well, he
with-
sacrificed himself instead of doing anything cool.
Yeah,
I hated it.
that's why I said we have to figure out where they're going.
I don't think they're going to be doing. They're not going to be doing any. They're not going to be doing a Lady Stoneheart. There's no if you were going to do that, you should have done.
They
that.
should have done it a while
Yeah.
back, like a couple of seasons ago. But I think that
And doing a even Yara, man, Yara is such a wasted character.
yeah,
Because you could have done the other character,
yeah,
his actual sister in the books, who is a selfish prick.
yeah. They've lost a lot of characters.
But I mean,
that could-
imagine if you would have let Stannis live, and it'd have been like it is in the books right now, where Stannis is amassing an army, and then what? And then Jane Poole, and there's so many
there's so many
things
other things they could have gone with, but we'll see how they're going to go. We're talking about this, but this is all speculation as pre-up as we go all the way back to the beginning. The best season of them
So
all.
for those of you that haven't quite figured this out, we're both fans of the books and the show. So there's a lot of complaints we both have that's
Huge.
not in the shows, but the shows have been very good. It's one of the best shows that have been on television. And I get why they didn't adapt the books completely, because some of that's a little, to the average audience, might be a little far-fetched.
yeah,
Because the emotional turmoil of watching Catelyn Stark in the Red Wedding and then finding out she's alive but not alive, and that's kind of like for book fans, you're like, that's cool, but for show fans, the average
the average show fan would
would be like, oh, that ruined the Red Wedding, even though it definitely doesn't.
It changes that character changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, this is all our pre-up to our. I wouldn't say our format's going to change, but our focus of what we're going to be talking
It's going
about
to change for a brief moment,
for a brief moment, man.
a few months.
A few months of so.
Let's get
we're-
into today's episode.
Before we get into today's
Okay.
episode, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up. So after we get done with this whole Game of Thrones thing, have you heard about what Amazon's going to be attempting coming up soon?
No.
The Wheel of Time.
Oh God.
And they're fighting tooth and nail to go through and try to get everything started on this. Now, for those people who don't know, Wheel of Time is a novel, a set of very long novels, and they're actually going to be adapting that. So everyone's going to be jumping on probably to that coming up next, because that's the next big sword and board coming up from.
We'll see.
Yeah, but Amazon, if you've looked at some of their shows, they're putting together well-produced shows. So I'm waiting to see exactly how far they're going to get with this. And there's still rumor that they're going to be telling another story from Game of Thrones after this is all over with. So we're not done with the Songs of Fire and Ice in one way or another.
No, you're getting the Aegon's Conquest.
Yeah.
So, on to our today's episode. We're going to be talking about 1959's House on Haunted Hill. Alex,
Classic.
what did you think of this film?
Well, being that I've seen this movie several times, rewatching it again, number one, you can't have a movie like this remade for this day and age. What they did back in, what year was that, 99?
Yeah.
Where they did and then The Haunting, and then House on Haunted Hill, and then House on Haunted Hill remake and remastering. Yeah, they did this like 3 different times. Still one of my favorite Price movies, Mr. Price.
Now, here's the cool thing I liked about this film. This was campy horror before campy horror was a thing.
But see,
You got more laughs out of this than you got chills, but it was done.
But for its time period, that was a psychological
for a
mind trip, though.
gimmicky piece, which is what this was. It
was
a gimmicky campy piece. It was perfect. The problem with this is, and this is where I think Hollywood is missing the boat.
Okay.
When you have a perfect period gimmick piece, you can't remake it. Because it's, look, $10,000 then is $1 million now. I get it.
What the budget on this one was like 200,000?
No, I'm not talking about
No,
budget.
I'm just saying, but like
Yeah.
if you look at things in comparison,
Yeah, this is
There's money.
1959's Evil Dead. It was
Okay.
It was a
Okay.
campy cult classic.
I could see that.
That when you remake, if you don't do it serious, which I get they tried to do with the wrong actors.
Okay, so I got to stop you on that one. If they're going to remake, you have to do it more serious. Then what did they do with Evil Dead?
They made it more serious.
They made it way more serious,
Yeah.
and to me, it lost me. Like half the fun of Evil Dead for me
was the campiness.
Was the
I
campiness.
appreciated the Evil Dead remake because it was what Sam Raimi initially intended.
That's the only reason why I
So
give it its respect.
it wasn't as fun. It was a little bit like, whoa, that's a lot of Drag Me to Hell
Right.
with a little bit of Evil Dead. I appreciate that because that's what Sam Raimi wanted. He got to make his vision. I get that. But the problem is the director of House on Haunted Hill, the guy that wrote it initially, he's dead.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get his vision in remaking it.
And I don't think even if he was alive, let's say this was...
You're not going to get another actor like Vincent Price.
Price.
They don't exist except for maybe Gary Oldman. You might be able to put Gary Oldman in that.
You could, but then you have to have...
You'd have to have the strong supporting cast with him.
Is strong supporting
and Catherine
cast.
Zeta-Jones isn't it.
No, because that was The Haunting.
Was that The Haunting?
That was The Haunting. But to me...
It was all the same.
It was all the same because the movies came out at the same time, the same year. One was the beginning of the year, one was at the end of the year.
We have...
House on Haunted Hill for me was black and white, psychological, fun, campy horror. I don't even consider it horror because it really wasn't a horror flick. I mean, if you look at it, it's a whodunit film, and
it's like I said, it's a campy
because it's not really a horror film. If you get down right to it, it's talked about like as if it was.
It was geared up for buzzers in the seats. I swear.
Yeah,
like it was not.
Because the entire movie is who's going to kill who.
Yeah, and it's beautiful that way.
Because it was more of the character of Frederick was a mastermind of thinking that he knows that his newest wife, is going to try to kill him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, let me set this whole situation up so that this person can get this person to work with this person. He knew about the affair that she was having. This was a mastermind in work type of movie. So I really don't consider House on Haunted Hill even in the horror category. This was just a psychological drama because he knew what was going on.
A lot of your horrors back then were,
which is the reason why I have such love for
horrors back then,
classic horror, because it wasn't, the gore was in your mind. I mean, somebody having a
look at Salem's Lot,
a 20-gallon
never saw a single death.
Yeah, a 20-gallon acid vat in their basement that's still active. You knew that was going to be a MacGuffin. That was a key player of that movie. Mm-hmm. So you want me here? I'll give you one negative: the editing, in comparison to the editing of movies of that time. They used every single swipe.
William Castle never really did very good. Look at the editing done on 13 Ghosts or the Tingler.
Yeah,
you look at any of the films that came out of Castle. They were not edited correctly.
Oh man, but they used every single fade that you could pause. It was like he had the entire compilation of fades and was like, I'm going to use
all of them.
All of them.
No, it's like his editor just came out of film school. He's like, "What'd you learn?" I learned all of this,
and I threw it down. But that is the only negative. But as far as story, I thought the story is still, it holds up better for its time period than it does for modernizing it. I think that was the wrong thing to do, is modernizing it. And I think I want to get my big push for, as far as me in Hollywood, I would love to see just remasterings.
Yeah,
you just clean up and you re-release it as if it came out yesterday,
but done for the time period it was meant for.
And you just put up new posters. Don't colorize it, because that time period of black and white films were like the new colorized version, and I'm like, let's pass on that. But I personally think that it's not, House on Haunted Hill is not given its due because it's campy. And I mean, you look at, if you go Rotten Tomatoes. On the grand scale of Rotten Tomatoes, I got a 92%. The audience score was 72%.
Because they missed the boat.
They missed the boat. IMDb
6.9
out of 10. This is to me a film classic. You could not have a movie where a person's talking to another person going, I know you're trying to kill me, and if I can kill you before you kill me, I'm going to get you good. They were talking smack about the fact of, I know we're going to kill each other. Mm-hmm. And this is all going on during a party that they happen to be having. This is
a haunted house party.
A haunted house party, which, how many haunted house parties do you get guns handed out to you? I'm like, this was a slow grind, a build, but you knew it was coming at the end. And even every cheesy moment was proven.
What's your score?
I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. For reasons of, if this was the only version of this movie that ever existed, I would say, and it was a classic, 5 out of 5. But there are better classic black and white psychological horror films that exist. Mm-hmm. There are some characters that really just killed it for me. Nora was one of them. She knocked the score down a little bit. Her acting was
subpar.
So subpar. She really lost it. But Annabelle, Vincent Price's wife, she was perfect evil. Mm-hmm. Like, she was plotting and trying to best. What is your score?
It was going to be a 3.5 out of 5, but I'll move it up to a 4.
Okay, so the grand score is a 4. This is, to me, this is one of the black and white classics.
It's earned its place in the mantle of classic films you have to watch, but it's not what I would call a perfect film. The saving grace for me in this film is the fact that the main star is Vincent Price.
I think that's what goes from the 3.5 to 4 for me, because it's Vincent Price playing
anyone
evil.
else playing that, except for maybe Christopher Lee or Lugosi or Lon Chaney Jr. Anybody who was
Lee couldn't do it.
I think Lee could have.
Lee would command a very serious situation.
Right, it would have been less campy. It would have been a lot more serious.
Vincent Price the one-liners he would slide in there made that movie work. And I think that's where I was like, this was made for
Lon Chaney Jr. could have done it. But, there's besides maybe Lee or Lon Chaney Jr., you'd be looking at Price is the only other actor that could pull it off. But as you said, Lee would have been a lot more serious with it. Even Chaney would have been a lot more serious with it.
Now, my other thing that, for my score knocking down, what starts it off is the expositional beginning. I've always forgotten about that, and every single time I go through and rewatch the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, exposition beginning. That loses points. But
it reminds you that this is not a new concept in Hollywood that we complain about. This is an old concept in Hollywood to complain about.
That's always been existing. But the problem I have is, for its time period, though, even though we can complain about it now, expositional beginnings are not far-fetched
everywhere.
It's not used everywhere, but it's not far-fetched for the 1950s movies.
No, you had to.
Like especially for as deep as that movie was, you could not go through and show me.
Well, you got to remember, this is only 2 decades removed from when you had to have somebody telling the setup of the story at the beginning of the film as if it was a theater.
Right. And this still had that whole concept of, you could see that there was a huge stage implement, even on the way it was shot. The positioning of the actors was based off of almost stage direction.
Well, yeah, because you look at every actor from that time period and before, they were all classically trained theater actors that transitioned into, acting, screen act. Well, I can't say acting because at the time, theater actors were the actors. These were the gimmick actors, the ones that were on, because nobody expected film to take off like it did. I mean, it was a modern marvel, but who knew that you were going to go from what we got in the early 1900s and late 1800s to early 1900s to what we have now with, $300 million budget Marvel blockbusters.
Exactly.
But in all reality, this would have, if it did not have a Vincent Price in it, it honestly would have been a 3 for me. The movie was good. The movie was okay.
He does make that. But see, that's a lot of fanboy, though.
Yeah, no,
we can't even
I can't. I don't think I can give you an honest review of this film.
That's the same problem
because it has Vincent Price in it.
So it's like, we're gonna rank it. At least I will. I'll be honest.
I'll rank it higher every time Vincent Price in.
If Vincent Price is involved, because he made this character, and so that's the reason why I'm like, The New House on Haunted Hill and The Haunting.
We got to remember, what's my golden rule? You can't remake a film that starred Vincent Price. So for me, this is always going to get a higher score because Vincent Price is in it. The movie itself, though, was mediocre at best, but because Vincent Price is in it, it'll get the 4 out of 5.
So that takes care of that. And so we got our score, and you got anything you want to end this with?
You can find us on YouTube at The Reel Pundits.
Wait a minute. Talking about that, are you back on
Twitter? Yes. So you can find me on Twitter at @BrandReelPundit. I remembered the email address that I used.
Because I was like, wait, because all of a sudden I saw a post from you. I was like, are you finally officially back? Do I have to sit there and give you
I had to figure out. I locked myself out for a while because I kept not remembering the email or password. And then when I remembered the email, I forgot the password. And I finally figured it all out.
So you can find me at ANA Reel Pundit on Twitter. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, or you just want to sit there and talk smack to us, mailbag at thereelpundits.com. And that's pretty much it for us for this week. And like always, bye.
Bye.
So, now that the show is over, there's something I wanted to ask you, and I'm just going to leave it on recording anyways. Oscars. I mean, this is after show, so I'm going to allow this just for like 5 more minutes. What do you think of this whole Oscar mess that's going on? I mean, this is part of...
Are you talking about the Golden Globes?
No, I'm passing the Golden Globes. I'm letting...
I don't think I've even been paying attention to the Oscars right now.
We're not going to have a... There's not going to be one official host for the Oscars after the whole Kevin Hart situation. There's not going to. It's going to be your luck of the draw. They're going to pull straws in the back, and randomly they're going to throw people up. Do you really think the Oscars are a thing anymore?
No,
do you think they're important?
Done. They're done. They've been done. This is a circle jerk for Hollywood, man.
But I think it's still needed because there's so many things that are.
Let's focus on the People's Choice Award. Let's focus on Sundance. Let's focus on the Real Film Awards.
Okay,
Screw the Academy.
But the Academy has existed within film for it's a staple part of
changing of the guard. Time to go. Time to change things. The Academy was a thing when Hollywood was the only big player in town.
So you think the internet is the internet and streaming has made it where there's really no need.
We can make a film and put it on the internet. We don't need Hollywood distribution.
No,
nobody does. Nobody needs the Academy. Look at how well China's doing or Japan's doing or all the foreign films
or Bollywood. I mean, Bollywood should be getting films in there.
But that's the thing. Hollywood used to be the place you made films, no matter where in the world you were from. Now anybody can make a film anywhere in the world and put it up on the internet or sell it or distribute it their own way.
Get streaming. Streaming is killing a lot of movies.
Hollywood anymore. Hollywood has to learn that we don't need Hollywood anymore.
But I don't think Hollywood would ever accept the concept of saying that we're not needed. They think that it's a part of, you have to have us, you need us. No, we don't. But at the same time,
we haven't needed you in a long time.
But you still need the Academy Awards. You need something to sit there and say,
Sundance.
Hey, you missed this movie. You need to check this out.
You need Sundance. You need reviews.
Southwest Film Festival?
Yes, you need Southwest. You need People's Choice Awards. You need, and even if you want to restructure the way the Academy does things, I don't think it should be the way it is.
Now that I would agree with you. I think that the Academy should still exist, but I think it needs a restructure. Yeah. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
No, I think
post show because I wasn't getting into anything
I honestly quit paying attention to I'll pay attention to the Oscars when it happens.
You're still going to watch it, but I'm
not going to watch it. I'm going to read.
Read it still. You're being involved.
I'm going to pay attention to it because I'm going to have to report on it. But if I didn't have to report on it, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No,
I think that
last year when we did our Oscars show,
that
was the first time I'd watched the Oscars in years. I don't care about the Oscars. I haven't cared about the Oscars.
See, I still watch them, man.
When it took Leonardo DiCaprio that long to get one, it shows that they're not doing it based off talent.
I have no comment on that.
All right, man.
On that note, that's officially the end of the show. All right, bye.
Bye.